Hey everyone, this is Felicia with The Book Is Done. It's been a minute. I am so sorry. I feel like a whole month has went by, but I've been busy. I have been busy, so much so I feel like I need to get more busy in reading books. But I finished these books this month. Do Not Disturb is the most recent one. I'm not going to talk about all of them in this video. I am going to talk about the top two, Do Not Disturb and The Stranger I Know. And so I'm just gonna jump into it because I don't want to keep you up all night, because I don't want to be up all night, but they were really good. So the first one, Do Not Disturb by Freida McFadden. I am what they call a Freida reader, meaning I am a huge fan that is like in the process of reading all of her books. So let me tell you, within the 5 that you had just seen, 3 of those are hers. This one right here, Do Not Disturb, I declare, I feel like all of the books that I've read, the first one that I read of hers was The Housemaid. It's a blue cover, looks like it's an eye looking through a keyhole. I thought that I did a review on that, but I did not. I did it for the sequel, The Housemaid Secret, but you have to go look at that. So this one, this of course came out. The Housemaid Secret is the most recent. She just came out with it like 2-3 months ago. So this came out last year, I believe. Do Not Disturb. Every single Freida book that I read, she has about 14, maybe 14 to 16 books. I've read about at least, I'm pushing like half of her books now. Every single book has been different. Every single flow has been different. I've never been able to guess who the murderer was, because she does write a lot of psychological thrillers, but every single one has been different, and I love it. So with Do Not Disturb, some possible triggers, just to get it out there, possible triggers, domestic violence, excuse me, there is some psychological mental disorders, if you will. Not really developmental type disorders, but like bipolar. I believe that was mentioned in the book, so you do have that. And then you do have some physical type of things going on with not really a disorder, but like MS, multiple sclerosis, something like that. But outside of that, that's really it. Domestic violence was like, it starts off with domestic violence. So if that's a trigger for you, I would just hold off on reading it. But the main character's name is Quinn Alexander. This is where the spoilers start. So if you want to, go order you a book, I got it off Amazon. Slowly but surely, she is popping up. Her and all of her books are popping up in libraries. Just go read one of her books. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. Do Not Disturb. Main character is Quinn. Story opens up in her killing her husband. Just flat out, cold blood, killed her husband. Long story short, he was abusive to her. He was mentally abusive, and towards the end, definitely becoming physically abusive. And not to say that she snapped, but she just had enough of it. Like, she was very, she knew what his actions were going to be, kind of say predictable, if you will. And so starts off, I mean, like the first story, I killed my husband, made no apologies about it. I was just like, oh snap, okay, let's do this. So now she's on a run. She is, but like nobody knows of anything. A police officer came to the house because the neighbor had heard screaming. She kind of, not to say she brushed it off, but she just basically said, I was watching a movie, was really into it, I screamed, everything is fine. So the police officer was like, well, all right, you have a good night. So she literally takes a shower. She packs as much as she can. She gets on the road. I forgot where they are. It's not like Wisconsin or anything, but it's a place where they're like just now starting to get a snow blizzard, and it's really bad. So she's driving. You know, and she's just slowly trying to make herself, you know, get as far away from the scene as possible before people start asking questions. Like, she left her husband in the kitchen, stab wounds, just laying in a pool of blood, just left him there. So she gets to this hotel. The blizzard is like really, really bad. She gets to this hotel called the Baxter Hotel, Motel rather. And she checks in. The person who owns the hotel, his name is Nick, and it's a rundown hotel. It's like side of the highway. You wouldn't even go to use the bathroom. Like, you would feel more comfortable using the bathroom like in the woods down the street from the hotel. Like, it's dilapidated. I think I said that word right. I don't know. I'm tired, but it's really run down, really, really run down. She has no choice but to stop at this hotel. She stops at the hotel, and then, you know, she pays for a night, and she ends up staying there. I want to say maybe it was a total of like 3 nights. I'm not sure. It seems like it was so much longer in the book. But she stays at this hotel. So outside of her husband, who she killed, the only family that she has is Claudia, who is her older sister. Both of their parents were killed. I want to say it was like it was a car accident that she was killed in, or the parents were killed in, on a way to a show of Quinn's. At this time, Claudia was in undergrad, going for school. Parents were killed. Claudia steps in. It's just the two of them. By this time, Claudia is 18. She takes care of her sister. Fast forward to now. Quinn is married. Claudia is married to Rob. And so Quinn was just like, you know, if I could trust anyone, it's my sister. She does away with her phone, things of that nature. So Claudia doesn't know what's going on. So the story flips, and Claudia, the story picks up where Claudia is just like, something is going on. I know something's going on with my sister. And so back at the hotel, with Quinn meets this woman, she's an older woman. She says she's a fortune teller. So she wants to tell her fortune. Quinn is like, it's okay. I'm just trying to get some rest so I can get up out of here type thing. And so I'm not going to say much more than that, outside of the fact that Nick's wife, I forgot her name, please forgive me, but she is someone, and they're fairly young, like in their 30s, 20, like late 20s, early 30s. But Nick's wife was diagnosed as having MS, and it was a aggressive, really progressive form of MS, where she literally has to rely on her wheelchair and her husband. And so it was just some shady boot stuff that was going on, as to where, you know, Nick's wife, she can only do but so much. She can only move but so fast. So she is watching any and everything. She has binoculars, and she's watching everything. I forgot the name. Freida, I forgot her name. Let me see, the older woman who is she's a fortune teller. So Greta, sorry, her name is Greta. So Greta is just like, oh, well, you know, I think you should just go because you are in a lot of danger. So long story short, you have to read the book for yourself, because it's not like, oh, well, who did it type thing. Like, Gwen tells you flat out, she killed her husband. So the big thing about this book is that something weird is going on at this hotel. It's run down, it's scary, it's gross. Like, you just don't want to stay there. So it's just trying to figure out what all is going on with the hotel, with the Baxter Hotel, and just get like the end result of everything that's going on. So it was a good read. You know, some people may give it like a 3 or a 4 out of 5 stars. I would give it like a strong 4.5, only because it's a Freida book. You know, you can't go wrong with Freida book. She's getting better as she goes, as she writes. From what I've gathered so far, she releases like a minimum of 3 books a year. Genius. The books are like 200 to 300, maybe 350 pages each book. So it's not to say it's a quick read, but it's one that's definitely going to keep your interest. So meantime, between time, check this out. got this on Amazon. The majority of her books for the United States are like $10. So I don't know of other currencies and things of that nature. I know it's like literally available internationally, like worldwide, Canada, United Kingdom, Australia. She's everywhere. So definitely go and check her out. So that was Do Not Disturb. Second book. And please forgive me if I'm going like super fast. I'm tired. But at the same point in time, these have been sitting on my desk for like 2 weeks now. Horrible, I know, sorry. The Stranger I Know, Amber Garza. This is the second book that I've read of hers. The first one I did a report on, or a review on, When I Was You. Genius book. Oh my God. Yeah, like y'all, go check it out. Amber Garza is the business. But this book right here, this was one of her older books, and she even reached out to me like when I had put it on my Instagram page, of course at The Book Is Done, and she was saying like that was one of her older books and one of her older works, and she doesn't even believe it's being sold anymore, but it was still a good book all the same. So the stranger I Know basically talks about how is this woman, Jade. Jade is a woman on a run from, triggers, drug abuse, domestic violence, both childhood and adult, drug abuse, and that's really it that I can think of. But yeah, those were like the triggers in that book. So the two main characters is Jade. Jade is the individual who, she was addicted to drugs, but her partner, who was also like a drug dealer, was beating up on her like really bad. Like she had bruises on her neck when he tried to strangle her and things of that nature. And I want to say she was addicted to meth. And so just one day she made up in her mind that she was just going to leave. She had money saved up. She got on a bus and she left like while he was sleeping. So as she was getting away, she got off of a bus in the middle of nowhere. I can't remember how far away was it. How far away it was from where she ran from or got away from. I want to say it was like maybe 2 or 3 hours away. Not sure. But she's in like this really, really small town. She ends up getting off the bus, has no idea where to go. But she ends up in a barn, in rundown barn. And she falls asleep there. So she wakes up. It's this dog that sniffs her out and whatnot. And the gentleman who owns the barn, his name is Kyler. And so Kyler, comes across her, and, he's following his dog, and he sees her, and he's like, it's okay, I won't hurt you. And she's still coming down off the high from meth, and, just trying to be like, okay, what the crap do I do next? And so he invites her in. He was just like, no judgment here. I just want you to be safe. Feel free to get something to eat. Look like you haven't eaten in a while. I'm making some eggs. Come in the house. So he wasn't forceful or anything like that. So ultimately she goes in the house. She finds out that he is a writer. And he's a recluse. So he stays by himself. And he just focuses on the books that he writes. Single guy. He was married. And I believe his wife died. And so, long story short, he's just like, I have an extra room, feel free to get yourself together. You can take a shower, again, no pressure, but you're welcome to get some sleep. So she ends up staying, and nothing happened between them or anything like that, nothing sexual, but it was just really, her trying to build her trust in people. So as she's there, she learns that he's a writer. He tells her that he's a writer, and he's written these books, and it was one she actually liked to read, and she was very well versed in literature, and so he was like, well, I'm an author, feel free to read my work. And so she read this book of his and like fell in love with it. And so he was like, I guess she started looking for work. I'm trying to remember, sorry. She was looking for work, And he was like, well, I mean, you can work here. Like, I'm not going to charge you or anything. You can stay here free of charge. The only thing is that, you know, I ask you to look after my dog because when I'm writing, I'm in the zone. I don't have time to go and play. Like, I'm focused. I'm trying to write. So, you know, if you could, you know, just maintain a clean house, you know, and just really play with my dog. That's it. So she was just like, I don't know if I could trust you, but I'll trust you. So she goes on with it, and she's cleaning up his study a little bit, and she comes across this story, and she starts to read this story. He told her not to read it, but she comes across this story, and as she's reading it, it sounds like the character is based on her. And so, long story short, she reads the book, she reads the manuscript, if you will, and come to find out it is about her. But at the same point in time, it's not about her. It's about her life and, you know, kind of like her childhood. It was someone that was similar, very, very similar, so much so that she thought it was about her. And Kyler, you know, he revealed who he was. And so, in all things, that's all I'm gonna say about that book. Just know that Kyler is a stranger, but he was not a stranger. He was someone from her past that she just totally forgot. Just totally forgot, but he was there for her from her past all the way up to this point. And so it ended up being a really, really good book. In comparison to When I Was Her was 5 stars. Like, go get it. Amazon, I want to say Books, Barnes and Noble, maybe Walmart. When I Was Her, that came out, I want to say maybe like a year or two ago. But this one, I got this on Amazon. Again, maybe like $9, $10 US dollars. But I would give this one maybe like a 3. A 3.5. It was a really good book. Don't get me wrong. I just felt like there were some things where I was just like, I have questions. I saw where she pulled it together, where Amber, the author, pulled it together, but I was still just like, I have questions. So definitely check it out. Feel free to check it out. I'm gonna end this video here because it's going on 18 minutes. Feel free to check these 2 books out. Of course, I got them on Amazon. Do Not Disturb and The Stranger I Know. Definitely go check them out. Freida, I know, is on Instagram. She's on Facebook. I'm part of all of her stuff. I follow her, and Amber too. They're really, really cool people. I have spoken with them. So definitely feel free to go check out their work. This is Felicia again with The Book Is Done. What's next? I'm going to talk about The Perfect Son by Freida. I'm going to talk about Unmissing by Minka Kent, and Brain Damage by Freida McFadden. All good books. Oh my gosh, all good books. So until the next time, this is Felicia with The Book Is Done. What's next? We shall talk about it. Have a good night.